Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Before we get started, I'm really bad with names, so if I mispronounce the name by accident, I really apologize. Shakira, I think, if you've been trying to hit me up on Instagram, my Instagram is down. I have a new one, so I will leave my name, my Instagram in the description box below. So yeah, I just didn't want you to sit there and think that I was not getting back to you, or if anyone else that has my Instagram and was trying to hit me up, I didn't want to sit there and think that I was like ignoring people. It's been down for quite a while, and Instagram has taken a sweet ass time with it. So, but I will leave my new Instagram name down in the comment section. I mean, in the description box below. So, this episode. You know, the Peter and Nina scene was actually, well, still my favorite part. But here's the thing. Here's the thing what they try to do, and I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out. After they sit down and they talk, and this is after Nina tries to reach for a gun, but for some odd reason decides not to sit there and look at him, they sit down and they talk. And pretty much, like everyone's disrespecting, including me, Peter tries to blackmail, well, not even tries, but Peter pretty much blackmails Nina by sitting there saying, listen, I want to find my daughter, and I need your help to do it. Any information that you get, you pass it on to me. And in exchange, I won't sit there and tell Carly about your dirty little secret with Sonny being in love with him and all this other stuff. Hiding him from his family, you know, all that good stuff. Now, if it was just basically you either do what I say or I ruin your little happy bubble, Nina would look like full trash. Don't get me wrong, she still looks like trash. But in this part, she would look like full trash. So, what Peter decides to do is say, well, if I can't find Louise, then James would be a nice second. Pretty much they're saying that if you don't help me, I'm going to kidnap James. And this is the cop-out part. Because she's going to use this as an excuse to not tell, you know, to help out Peter and to make sure that her whole little bubble of fantasy doesn't get ruined by Peter. She's going to use that as an excuse. And that excuse is BS. Okay? That excuse is absolute BS. It's not about James. It's about keeping her dirty little secret. Because the minute that, you know, people are near each other or Sonny got back, she can basically sit there and say, well, maybe not now because he has a gun, but at some point Peter's going to leave. She's not going to be sitting there with Nina 24/7. So at any point in time, Nina could sit there and tell Maxi and make sure that there's police protection and all this other stuff to protect James. And, you know, I mean, Peter will be back out on the run, but, you know, whatever. But no, she's not going to do that because this isn't about James. This is about keeping a dirty little secret. So, I was not a fan of the way they try to go about it to try and make Nina look less like trash. And in reality, all that doesn't matter. Because even if she is doing that to protect James, she's still been keeping a secret for way too long. So Chase leaves. And Willow decides to go after Chase. And I'm just sitting there thinking, why? Like, she's like, oh, well, I can't leave her like this. You can't leave her like that. You practically just broke his heart. It's like breaking up with someone and then saying, oh, you know what, let me call them the next day to make sure that they're okay. Like, why? Why continue that? Oh, I'm going to go and find him. And this way I can sit there and what? Try to make yourself feel better? is the part where it just kind of lost me a little bit, because it was just like her re-explaining everything that she practically explained yesterday, but we're just going to do it all over again to try to ease her conscience. And that's literally what she did. That's what she did. Because at the end of it, you know, there was a certain part where Chase did understand that, you know, she wasn't there trying to tell me about trying to break up a long time ago. You know, like for a while. And I just didn't listen or whatever. Like, he did understand. You know. But he still didn't like the lies. And he still couldn't really understand, why can you not tell me after? Like, why did you allow me to marry you? Of course, we can kind of sit there and say, why did you continue to sit there and be married with her, knowing that she only married you because you were dying? I mean, seriously? You went out back on one date, you marry her, and she's just like, yep, that's it. So, honestly, to tell you the truth, this whole continuing to have the same conversation from yesterday just really didn't work for me. Then you got Michael and Austin going at each other. And, you know, Michael sitting there talking about, oh, well, you use Chase's guilt and use his pain to sit there and try to get what you want. I was like, Michael, those that live in glass houses should not throw stones. And, you know, when Austin said what he said, you know, Mike can kind of realize, like, yeah, maybe I kind of overstepped my boundaries a little bit with that. Maybe I should just, yeah. Now Austin re-explains one more time again why he's not there trying to get the voting shares and everything like that for his dad and yada yada yada. Meanwhile, Brooklyn is acting like such an immature little child. And I get that she was angry with Austin the way he did Chase, and even Austin was like, yeah, maybe I kind of went a little bit too far as trying to use him to get what I want. But Michael was like, you know what, listen, at the end of the day, he was like, you know what, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Because basically it was like the family, you know, the Quartermains didn't always play dirty. I mean, didn't always play fair. And he used a lot of underhanded tactics to sometimes get what they wanted. So with that being said, he gave it to Austin. Now, Brooklyn is damn near having a damn temper tantrum. I'm looking at this whole thing, and, you know, also reading the comments and stuff like that, and I'm like, alright, so he gets shares. What's he gonna do? Vote everyone out, and then what? Vote everyone out, and they're all out of money? Like, I mean, he gets some shares. So what? Like, you idiots are still gonna be rich at the end of the day. I don't really understand why she's all like, oh, I'm trying to protect my family, this, that, and the third. I'm like, no, you're not. I don't know what the hell you're doing at this point. I mean, I know it's more, you know, I know it has a lot to do with the whole, or at least at one point it had a lot to do with the fact that, you know, Austin could sit there and blow Brooklyn and Maxi's secret, you know, like mess up their plan. But besides that, this whole I'm trying to do right by my family is a load of crap. It's an absolute load of crap. When Austin leaves, you know, Brooklyn's like, do you know what you did? Yeah. Yeah, I think the whole audience knows what he did. And we're still looking at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? So she whines, she pouts, and that pretty much ends that scene, for more or less. You know, I really wanted Trina to beat the living bricks off of Esmery Prince. I wanted her to beat the living bricks off of her. Because the minute that they start talking, and she calls her tree, I'm like, I'm surprised she didn't get her ass kicked a long time ago. Because that girl, it's not even so much that she has no manners. She just doesn't really, I don't want to sit there and say no social cues, but maybe she's just so used to talking to people a certain way, like all the time, that people don't dare defy her because they know that she comes from money. But I'm like, sweetheart, you don't have your bodyguards, okay? And you're sitting there trying to, like, you know, use nicknames for people that you don't even know, that clearly don't even like you. at some point when Spencer leaves, she's all like, oh, well, I know you have a crush on him, and, I wouldn't be, like, she's like, I'm not mad about that, and I get that you may be mad because he didn't tell you that he had a girlfriend, and then she says some little sexist-ass remark, and I'm just like, I already didn't like you before, so, to be honest, that little remark about, oh, well, he's a guy, and blah, 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 didn't really change anything, but just the way she talks to her, like, just talking down to her, it's like, I know that Trina's not a violent person, and she was raised with, with good people that would not resort to violence, but, man, that little thing gets my last nerves, and, at some point, they all meet up. Like Jocelyn and Cam and stuff like that. And she's all like, oh, I want to go tennis playing, and, like, what do you like? Let's hang out, let's get together. And I'm just like, either this girl is delusional, or she just likes getting under people's skin. I don't know which one is it, but it's annoying either way. And they pretty much is like, oh, Trina has plans, and yada, 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 and she leaves, and then, at this point, Esmeralda just talks about how she covered for Spence, and by the way, I hate every time she talks. I really hate every single time she talks. But she talks about how she covered from, and their plan is going to work, and, it's going to be, just, like, keep a low profile, and she also talks about Trina, like, she knows too much, and people with broken heart tends to, talk too much or whatever. And of course, how dare, Kevin sit there and suggest that they get jobs. Like, ooh, no. But now she wants to enroll in PCU for a couple of classes because, honestly, to tell you the truth, I have no idea. I really want to try to understand why is she trying so hard to be around people that clearly want nothing to do with her. I'm really curious about that. Yeah, so that scene was whatever. After Maxi talks to Carly about the wedding, she meets up with Cam, Jocelyn, and Jax to, I guess, have a little birthday, graduation dinner or whatever. And honestly, to tell you the truth, it doesn't really last that long, because Jax, in his passive-aggressive comments, was going back and forth with Carly about her danger and this, that, and the third. And finally, Jocelyn was like, yo, are y'all two alright? Because Jack starts, he opens up his mouth, and then Carly, after a while, just gets annoyed. So they do this passive-aggressive thing back and forth. And finally, Jocelyn's like, is everything alright? So Carly's like, why don't you hang by the pool? We'll talk this out, and we'll let you know when it's safe. The minute that they leave, it's right back all over again. Carly's upset with Jax because, she tried to blackmail him, try to get her to incriminate herself and like, blackmail her. And of course, Jax seems like he has no problem with that because the ends justifies the means. Which, again, I get where he's coming from, but it's a really, like, slimy and cowardly and just scumbagish way of going about it. They talk about that, and honestly, to tell you the truth, at the end of their conversation, Carly's like, listen, we could be, like, co-parents or whatever, but, like, as far as that's concerned, that's it. Like, we're just there for Jocelyn. As far as me and you concerned, we're done. So nothing really changed. I honestly think in a lot of ways that in today's episode, they didn't even really feel like Sonny and Phyllis scenes were that important. I felt like they were very short. They're crying over Lenny. Okay. And then towards the end, all it really comes back to is the same crap. Phyllis is once again trying to push Nina and Sonny together. And of course, not that I need to sit there and remind everyone, because everyone, we're all on the same page about this, but for any new people that's just joining or whatever, Phyllis knows that Sonny had a wedding band. Meaning that she knows that he was married at some point. Meaning that they probably still are married. But apparently, to Phyllis, that doesn't matter. You know, she's all just about getting him and Nina together, and that's pretty much about it. The hell with his former life, or his former wife, or his former kids. No, just be with Nina and be happy because X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that's pretty much where that scene went. And another scene was Maxi and Valentine. Throughout this scene, I'm just not there waiting for Maxi to just screw up her whole plan. Because I know she's going to do it. Because, well, I don't want to sit there and say she's a moron. But, like, this was literally her plan. And up until this point, she's just been screwing up her screwing up her whole plan. Until she went away to Texas and then came back because I don't even know why. Oh yeah, I guess deception or whatever. But she's having a conversation with Valentine, and to be honest, it doesn't really seem like it goes anywhere. I mean, Valentine just tells Maxi that there's a good chance that Peter's alive and, you know, barely still out there and she's still in danger and stuff like that. And Maxi feels like she's going to slip up a couple of times by saying, no, Luis is going to be fine. And, you know, Valentine's like, how do you know that? She looks right at the damn baby. I'm like, yeah, I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm just looking at it like it's dominoes. And at any minute, Maxi's just going to sit there and find a way to just take out the wrong piece. Even though, you know, the domino thing she'll just find a way to take out the wrong piece. Just because. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't really go anywhere. Except for the fact that Valentine does get to hold, Maxi does get to hold her child again. And Austin, you know, tells Valentine that, you know, he has the papers and Valentine's happy. So, yeah. I have to sit there and say, this episode was actually pretty good. I am being a lot more harsher on GH as far as like rating them, like rating their episodes and stuff like that. But I've come to realize that, well, there's a lot of moving parts. In my humble opinion, I think there's too many moving parts. But throughout a lot of these soap operas, I always notice that there's always that group that's just there to run down the clock. I don't like it. I wish that all the parts of an episode, or at least the General Hospital episodes, would be good. But at least I feel like at least if like 80% of the episode is good, then I'm more than fine with it. And the Peter and Nina stuff was the best. Because, you know, whenever Peter goes in villain mode, it's always a great day. And hell, as much as I don't like Asmira, or whatever the hell her damn name is, that I guess in some ways my brain just refuses to try to learn how to pronounce her name. She's annoying, but again, there's stuff, so I can't really complain. Well, I mean, I can always complain, but the point is, it wasn't boring. So I'll definitely sit there and say that this episode was still good. I feel like the episode yesterday was a little bit better, but this one is still good too. I think that's about it. I feel like I'm missing something, like always, and I'm probably going to sit there and read the comment section, look at it, read it, and be like, gosh. And sometimes it may be minor, and sometimes it may be major, but yeah, I can't think of what it is. I can't think of what I missed. Anyway, with that being said, I think that's about it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Be safe. I will see you in the next video.